Hello everybody, this is Danny from Deep South Homestead on Porch Time today. It's very cold. Yep, so kind of got a little bit different subject today. We're going to be starting the new year off. I want to kind of start off on the right foot, if so to speak, with Porch Time. I'm going to start off with the subject of I'm not the man that I used to be. Now, this is something that can apply to all of us. It's very hard for me to actually do this. It's something I've given some thought to for a while. But guys, there's something we have to understand as we grow older. Things change. Nothing will ever stay the same. And as people, we have to realize this. Now, you know, several years ago, I was a blowing going young man. I traveled this country a lot. I've done a lot of hunting in a lot of different places in the country. I've worked in a lot of different places in the country. I like to go. And I like to see new places. I like to do things. But as time would go on, I would have some events take place in my life that would change me forever. I buried a spouse. I've been through divorce. If y'all have watched any of our series that we did here a while back on marriage and different things, financial programs that we've done, we talk about a lot of this stuff. And when a person goes through these things, it changes you. Now, I ran businesses. I owned my own businesses. When I was running my businesses, I was a businessman. I was very stern, very strict individual, hardly ever smiled, hardly ever laughed. Everything to me was serious. I only had one goal in mind, and that was making my business succeed. In my mentality, I couldn't see wasting my time on people's emotions and feelings and stuff like this. Of course, I was no different than any other business person. That's just the way business works. But as time would go on, and I would have a wife that got ill and eventually passed away with cancer, I would begin to realize just how fragile life is, and really just how short life is, because she actually passed in her 40s. And that really woke me up and helped me to understand just how short life really is. And you know, guys, I'm not the person that I used to be. You know, when I shut my companies down, lost a spouse, I did okay till I lost my own health. And when my own health broke down, then it got personal. And when life gets personal, that's when life gets real. And there's a lot of you guys out there, I know, because you send me comments and stuff, and we talk about this stuff, about some of your disabilities, some of the things that you all are facing. And believe me, my heart goes out to you, because a lot of you, the things that you're telling me, I myself have faced. Maybe not exactly like you, but I have faced something similar to it. And you know, as I sit back and I thought about, you know, when my health began to break down, you know, just 10 years ago, I could do anything I wanted to do. You couldn't hold me back. I could work, I could stay right up with a 20-year-old, work all day long. But when my back went, and then my neck, and then my knees, and then I was still doing okay, let me put it that way. I still was able to work because I figured out ways to do things. But when my heart messed up, guys, that changed me. It left me in a particular point in my life in a position where it happened, put it this way, it happened when I was alone. After my wife had passed away, I was living by myself is when it happened. And I realized at that point just how vulnerable a person is when they're by themselves. And just how hard life can be. And it's not a bad thing. You know, it's a learning experience. There's some things that irritates me now. I can't go off and do the hunting trips. I can't take the cold like I used to take. I can't take the heat like I used to take. I can't take road trips. Matter of fact, my cardiologist, you know, they told me, said, well, it'd really benefit you if you never get real happy and never get real sad, but if you could just keep your life kind of melatonin all the way through there, you'd probably end up, you know, your heart giving you less problems. Well, guys, that's extremely difficult for me because I like to be happy every now and then. And when sadness happens, there's something you just can't do about it. And I know when my mama passed away here a couple of years ago, it didn't bother me because my mama was ready to go, but it hurt. And that hurt caused my heart to stay out of rhythm a lot. And I can't understand it. I don't know why. I cannot explain it. Any excitement. I know used to, you know, if I shot an animal, you know, I loved the thrill of hunting. But just the adrenal rush from an animal coming out and being able to actually make that shot and all now really messes with my heart. And because of that, it really irritates me because I love to hunt, you know. And that's just a frustration to me. But there again, it's a life-changing thing that has happened to me that I had no control over. And guys, that's what like these are some of the things. I'm telling you some personal things about me as I start this new year off. One, I can't travel by myself. I don't even go to town by myself because I have blackout spells. I get where I can't, my eyes don't focus, I get dizzy, you know. These kinds of things happen to me. They run tests on me, they tell me I'm perfectly natural and I'm perfectly normal. There's no problems, but yet it still happens. And so therefore it means I must always be with someone. So therefore I don't go off in the woods a lot of times by myself unless somebody knows where I am in the event that something happens to me. So those are things that have irritated me for quite some time. And a lot of people say, well, why don't you come here, or why don't you go there, or why don't you do this? I don't travel anymore. We went to the conference this past year, and that was a big deal to me because I was way out of my element. Because of certain foods that I have to eat now, they were not available to me, and I had to watch every bite that went into my mouth. I have to have a protein put in my body every 2 hours, and because I could not get that while I was there like I needed, because I was enjoying myself, you know, we were smiling, we were laughing. When I finally got home, you know, I had a crash and burn time. because my body just, I held it up as long as I could. And it happens to me after everything, even the gathering we had. You know, after that gathering, I had a crash and burn moment after that. And it's not because of people, it's because of the physical condition that I face. Well, going into the new year, we've set some huge challenges ahead of ourselves. Now, am I going to be able to accomplish these goals? I have no idea. But you know what? If you take a man's dream away from him, you take his life away from him. And I guess that's where I'm going with this today. There's a lot of you guys out there who have dreams of having a homestead. You have dreams of living a certain life. But yet there's physical things and mental things that hold you back. There's the anxieties of life that come whether you want them to or not. Because you see, it took a while for me to realize time never meant anything to me. But the woman that I was married to lost 3 of her children in a car accident at one time. And dates were very important to her, and she actually got me involved in watching the calendar for certain dates and stuff like that. And it's taken me a while to break that. Because you see, even now, I can start having some physical issues, and Wanda will ask me, what happened in this month? And I said, what do you mean? She says, did something tragic in your life happen in this month that psychologically is affecting you and you don't realize it? And I would stop and go, wait a minute. This did happen this month. You see, even though you don't think about certain things, your body will do certain things to you that you're not aware of. And then once I figure some things out, we were able to work through them, you know? And then guys, that's what I'm talking about. Don't give up on homesteading just because you have some physical infirmities, say. Maybe you've lost a loved one, maybe a spouse or something. Guys, 2018 may be your year. Maybe it's the year you can start moving forward with your life. Because you see, my desire is to be an example of someone who's been through a lot, who faces a lot, who lives with a lot of physical issues, and yet I still keep pushing forward because I feel like it is the right thing to do. I feel like it can be a blessing to someone else and maybe be an encouragement to someone else. Because guys, there's this thing, and I wish I could explain this better than what I'm doing, and I know I'm butchering the fool out of it, but there's this thing that happens in the body. It happens in the mind. And sometimes we have no control over it. You know, you ever heard this little thing, there's a little devil sitting on my shoulder up here? There's a good guy on this side, and there's a devil over here, and there's a battle that goes on in between these two. That takes place in the mind. And guys, look, I've studied into a lot of this pretty deep. And there's a lot of it that I've learned that I almost wish I did not learn. You know? There's lots of times I can sit and talk to someone and I can see within their own soul. And I can see the pain that they experience or the confusion. And I can see that they're troubled. And it hurts me sometimes because I know that I might not be able to help them. But I have a desire to. And that's one reason that I enjoy working with people and being around people sometimes and talking to people about things that goes on in their life. I try to be an encouragement and I guess you might say a blessing to them, because everyone has a reason in life for being here, and it is beneficial to us to figure out what our purpose here is. You know, and some will never know. I mean, I know some people who live to be old and they've passed on and they never knew why they were really here. They just lived. you know, and that's okay. If you can do that, that's fine. But I encourage everyone to find out who you are. Why do you want a homestead? What made you decide that you wanted to be a homesteader? Was it the economy? Was it a deep down inward feeling on the inside of you that you can't explain? Was it health issues? What made you decide you wanted to live a more self-sustaining life? I'll say this, about 80% of the people that I've been talking to tells me that there's an inward tugging that they cannot explain inside their heart and their mind that's pulling them and that is drawing them in that direction. Most don't worry too much about the economy. Most have just told me, Danny, I don't know what it is, but there's something that's just reaching out there and it's just pulling me toward this lifestyle. And I can't explain it. I can't get away from it. It's an inward tugging at my heart that tells me to go in this direction. And that's why I'm watching you do. Is so that I can help my own self, or that I can maybe find out why I have this feeling tugging at my heart. Well, guys, let me tell you something. Most of that tugging that you're feeling is the Spirit. Because the Spirit says, come out from among them and be ye separate. Because you see, there's some places in this world that it's just not fit for us to be in. And the modern society that's around us may be that place. Maybe the Spirit is calling us to go back to a more simpler way of life. Jeremiah 6:16, when God was talking to the nation of Israel there, he said, return to the old paths, wherein are the good ways. That's what he told Israel. But now Israel did not do it, and they suffered the consequence. Now, I'm not sitting here telling you that we need to go back to horses and buggies and, to doing everything by hand and stuff like that. But what I am telling you is to return to the old ways of thinking. Think for yourself. Find out who you are. Discover yourself. Because when you discover who you are, it may begin to unlock some of the questions that you have about your life. I know it did for me. When I went back and started doing some research, Wanda, more than me, started doing some research into my life and my family history and stuff like that, I found out that I have ancestors that are of the Cherokee Nation. I found out I have ancestors that are of the Iroquois Nation. I found out I have ancestors that are of the Homa Nation. I found out that I'm from, my long distant relatives are from France and England. So I'm a mixture of a lot of different things. But when I realized what it was in life that drawed me, it was that side of me that comes from the Native Americans that causes me to have a love for the land and a love for growing things and seeing nature in its best. It was at that moment that I realized that my calling actually is to the land and to taking care of the land and loving it, nourishing it. And guys, I encourage you to find your place in this giant ecosystem that we live in. Ask the Father to allow the Spirit to show you who you are. What is your purpose? What benefit can you be to someone else? Because you see, I went from being a guy who wanted to just live in the woods, which I did for many, many, many years. I didn't hang around with nobody. My family called me a hermit. My sisters called me a hermit. They said I was one of the most cold-hearted people they had ever seen because I did not like being around people. And yet now I have a YouTube channel. And one of my greatest desires is to spend time teaching people who are interested in attaining a certain amount of knowledge about living off the land and growing things. So you see, life does change you. If you allow it to change you for the better, then you become an asset to those around you and not a liability. And guys, that is my desire here at Porch Time today, is as I open up my life to you and let you see a little bit about what goes on inside of me, maybe, just maybe, you can begin to realize a little bit about what goes on inside of you. Because it's not until you realize who you are that you can learn to live. Somebody asked me here, it's been almost a year ago now, what did I do for a living? I thought that was humorous because they said, you don't have a job, what do you do for a living? I just looked at them and said, I live for a living. Now, if you want to know what I do for an income, then this is what I do. Because you see, I've been set free. I've learned who I am. I have a freedom now that I used to didn't have. I have limitations because of my physical aspects, but I'm free as free can be from a lot of things. And guys, that is my desire, is to help people learn this same freedom that I have. And it can be done. Let me say that. But it can't be done until you first understand and know who you are as an individual. Now, am I a miracle worker? Not by any long shot. I can be an encouragement because that's what I do. I can share information. I can help you over hurdles that maybe you're having some problems with in the gardens, maybe even some physical issues. Lots of people have contacted me and said, Danny, I have this kind of physical issue. I can't do this, or I can't do that, or I don't know how to do this. And I would just share some information with them, and they would reply, wow, I never thought about that. You've just opened up a whole new life for me. And guys, that's an encouragement to me. So as you sit back and you try to determine, why do I even homestead? Or why do I prep? Why am I so interested in living sustainable? You know, there's a big movement now with the millennialists. And that is an encouragement to me. Because I talked to several millennialists who, they don't know why they feel the way they feel. But there's an inward pulling. They know the food system's bad. They know they've been disconnected from their food source. They know these things, and they're struggling. And guys, it's our responsibility. Those of us who have gained the freedom that we have and who understand some things about life, it's our responsibility to reach out and help those who are struggling. Because you see, I'm not the man I used to be. And chances are, once you figure out who you are, you won't be the person you used to be. I think if you look real deep down inside, you'll figure out there's somebody in there that's wanting out, that's wanting to live, that's wanting to be free from all the stress. Because see, around us right now, there's evil, there's good, and in the middle is where we are at, and there's just stress, stress, stress. We have debt. We have jobs that we hate. We don't even know why we go to work. We go to work to provide ourselves with things that don't even make us happy. You know, we're sitting here and we're battling with these things back and forth all the time. We're going like, oh my God, if I could just be free from all this. You can. I promise you. It can happen. But it's up to you. Take some time. Write your thoughts down. If you have a desire for a homestead, write on a piece of paper what you'd like to have in a homestead. If you want to live a sustainable life, take your notebook and write down in that book some things that you would like to have to make you more sustainable. If you're looking for a homestead, write down the things that you'd like to have in a homestead. And begin to look at that list and ask yourself the questions. Will this make me happier if I have this on a homestead? Or if I have this and trying to be more self-sustainable, will this make me happier? What will it take to make me the happiest and have more joy in my life than I've ever known? Because God, let me tell you something right now, guys. I'm at a difficult point in my own life. My truck is giving me problems. I've got a brand new tractor that's giving me problems. I've got problems with my house I'm having to fix. I've got a roof that's going to have to be replaced here in a few years. I've got animals I've got to get rid of. I've got tons of things that's piling up on me. So I'm no different than any one of you all. I face those battles every day just like you do. Is it easy? No. But can it be beat? Yes. Is there going to be stress? Yeah. I have those points in my life. I live in this big house. I have no central heating. When it's cold like it is now, guess what? Danny sleeps on the couch. Wanda goes to bed. Danny gets up every few hours and puts wood in the wood heater. My rest is very limited because I've got to keep this house warm so that we can rest comfortably. If I had it to do all over again, would I do things differently? You bet I would. But it is what it is. And it's up to me to determine what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to make the best of it. I'm going to hold my head up and I'm going to move forward. I'm going to go till I can't go anymore. I'm going to enjoy what time and what life I have. And I would encourage you to do the same thing. Thank you guys for watching today, because it is an honor and it is a blessing to have you guys watch Porch Time. Because guys, y'all are as much of an encouragement to me as you say I am to you. And I look forward to a new year of Porch Time. Hopefully this year, Porch Time will be just as enjoyable as it's been in the past for a lot of you. And maybe we can all learn something and move forward and have a more free happy, healthy life. Thank you guys from Deep South Homestead.